Hey, what's up? Hello, everyone. Welcome into Fantasy Filmball, the show where we turn movies into sports and sports into something we don't talk about here. My name is Matt.
My name is Dyl. You know what time it is. Everyone's favorite time of the week. That is draft time. When I'm happy, that means I won. When I'm not happy, that means I lost. And I'm a little bit happy right now. So that means that I won last week's 80s horror draft. But today, we're kind of doing a 180 from 80s horror, and we're doing the best youth acting performances of all time in honor of Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, coming out this week, where I don't think anyone here will be drafting any performances from that movie, but I thought all the kid actors in that were great.
The kids did a great job in that movie, and it's honestly just a great potential for us to take a look at some of these really underappreciated performances by young actors, because I always think that a lot of the time these performances are looked over as just like, oh, well, the director did a good job. This is our opportunity to really honor some of the greatest achievements by people under the age of 18 in film through all of the years of the film industry.
There's a lot of choices here to take for number one, and I'm not really sure where exactly to go. But there's one youth acting performance here as of late that people were clamoring to be nominated for an Oscar, and they did not get nominated. And honestly, if they were nominated, they probably would have won, and that is Jacob Tremblay in Room.
Very nice. Room is a great movie, and the movie is all held together by Jacob Tremblay, and the sensitivity and the maturity in that performance. That's a demanding role, and he did an excellent job with it.
When I normally do these drafts, I make a list of like 10, and then I add extras if I need to. Be like, okay, here's my main competitors. I don't know where to go. Here, there's like 6 I could take first, and I don't really know which one to do. Just that one feels, the most universally beloved of the ones I had listed here.
I'm really glad you didn't take one of my first 2, because my first 2 are actually both right here. Now, first off, I'm going to take Haley Steinfeld in True Grit. This, I think, is one of the best performances of all time, I would say. Not even child performances. In this film, Haley Steinfeld outshines a cast that includes Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, and Josh Brolin. She's the lead of this movie, but for some reason they were like, hey, guess what? You're going supporting. And then she was Oscar nominated in supporting there for some reason. Who knows why? Also, worth noting with these 2 actors, they have gone on to keep performing. We've seen a lot of Haley Steinfeld, we've seen a lot of Jacob Tremblay, and we've also seen a lot of Brooklyn Prince, who has continued acting after the Florida Project. This performance is so outstanding. She holds her own against Willem Dafoe, against all of the non-actors who are just performing themselves. She melts your heart in this movie. I think you would need to be made of stone not to cry at her final scenes as she just weeps and weeps. It's incredible work.
I mean, we've taken a lot of modern performances, so let me turn the clock back a little bit for probably the OG youth acting performance. Give me Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz. For her role in this movie, I feel like she is such a breath of fresh air. She radiates so much positivity, so much youth, so much light. Wizard of Oz is, I think, a very interesting movie to me. Do I think it's one of the best movies of all time? Not really, but it's one of the most influential, one of the most important movies of all time. And I feel like the majority of the story does weigh on her shoulders, and she delivers, I think, a truly great performance in the leading role there.
Judy Garland is just an icon, so this is a very, very strong choice. But what are you picking up next?
See, this is where I really hit a wall, because my top 3 are all gone now of Tremblay, Steinfeld, and Garland. So I don't really know what to do here. There's some more risk picks I could do. There's some more personal picks I could do. And there's some more, general, like most audiences are going to love these. So, I think I'll use this pick to take the one, the only Jodie Foster in Taxi Driver.
That was my next. Damn. Jodie Foster is incredible in this role. I was so good in this role that Ronald Reagan almost got assassinated.
The power of cinema, you could say.
And now the guy who tried to assassinate him makes covers of indie rock songs on YouTube. What a weird world. What a very, very weird world. But Jodie Foster is iconic in this role.
She is. And which iconic performance are you going to take here next?
Oh, well, I'm going to take Linda Blair in The Exorcist.
Yep. All right. Well, there's the other one I was looking at.
The physicality that was needed for this role from Linda Blair is just insane. This kid had to writhe around and scream and shout and basically transform themselves into a demon. Of course, they had the help of makeup, they had the help of other voice actors to play the voice of the demon, but the physicality all comes from Linda Blair, who just defined the horror genre for the last 50 years. Even in Evil Dead, we were seeing last week that this just feels like a knockoff of what Linda Blair did in the 70s in The Exorcist. So the next pick I'm going to go with here is Abigail Breslin in Little Miss Sunshine. She truly is the sunshine in this movie. I remember when I first watched Little Miss Sunshine, I was surprised by how dark the movie was and how sad it was and how sad everyone in the movie was. But Olive, played by Abigail Breslin, she is just the hope in this film. She is the positivity, is the kindness that pulls this whole thing together, and that's why I think that she's the perfect pick for my team right here.
I'm down to my last two, and I still have a pretty long list here, and I don't really know where to go. So first up here, I'm gonna go with Miss Wallace in Beasts of the Southern Wild. This is one I really want to take earlier, but I felt like I could save it for a little bit later in the draft. She's so amazing in this. The same stuff I said about Tremblay earlier will go for her here. I know she did get nominated, but she should have won.
Literally, the only reason I didn't just pick her is because I thought to myself, oh, Dylan's not going to pick Fenza Hayne Wallace. Dylan's not going to take her.
I did. But I still have a list of like 8, because I went a little overboard with this draft, taking a lot of names, because I didn't really know what angle I wanted to go with. But I want to take one that maybe isn't as known, but I think is probably the best, in my personal opinion, on this list, and that's Abraham Atta and Beast of No Nation. He went toe-to-toe with Idris Elba. I think he is better than Idris Elba in this movie. I wish this movie got more love when it came out. I think this got a SAG Ensemble nomination. I just wish he got more. He hasn't really done much since, but I feel like this is one of the best youth performances, like standalone. Like, this didn't develop into a larger career, just a young boy giving his all in one role.
That is a very good pick. Atta is really, really strong in this movie. I'm also going to give some honorable mentions here of smaller films that I would love to pick that I just don't know if our audience would have seen and would have voted for. Jean-Pierre Léaud in The 400 Blows, Yuya Yagira in Nobody Knows, Subir Banerjee in Pather Panchali, Salvatore Cascio in Cinema Paradiso, I think are all some of the best performances of all time. I am going to pick Alexei Kravchenko in Come and See. Come and See is a war movie from the 80s. It is known as one of the most disturbing, one of the most depressing movies of all time, as we see a child navigate his way across the Eastern Front in Russia as Nazis are killing everyone in the area. We see this child transform from someone who's full of life and hope into someone who looks war-torn and weathered and aged. It's an incredible performance, and it's one that I hope enough people in our viewing community have seen, because I think that this probably would be one of the greatest of all time.
And I'm also going to give out a few shouts, because one thing I'm noticing with our list is we don't have many comedic performances here, but I know everyone out there is probably screaming, where's Macaulay Culkin for Home Alone? I don't really like this movie, so I didn't want to draft him here. But looking at some other people that I had on my next list up, Natalie Portman for Leon the Professional, Ty Sheridan for Mud, Sophia Lillis for It, River Phoenix in Stand By Me, Alex Hibbert in Moonlight, he plays the youngest version of Chiron, and Kylie Curran in Dr. Sleep.
Also, not even mentioning Roman Griffith Davis in Jojo Rabbit. The team that I have is Haley Steinfeld in True Grit, Brooklyn Prince in The Florida Project, Linda Blair in The Exorcist, Abigail Breslin in Little Miss Sunshine, and Alexei Kravchenko in Come and See.
On the opposite side, I used the first overall pick to take Jacob Tremblay in Room, Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz, Jodie Foster in Taxi Driver, Mrs. Wallace in Beast of Southern Wild, and Beast of No Nation's Abraham Atta.
Let us know what your favorite young performance is of all time, and make sure you go and vote on who has the best team. You can find it in our YouTube community tab. Go and vote, vote, vote. Hearing your voice is very important, because whoever wins gets first pick next week for our best threequels of all time draft that we're going to be doing alongside Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. My name is Matt.
My name is Dyl, and this is Fantasy Filmball.